Hey guys, I am Pixel Dan, and this is a review of the Masters of the Universe Origins Man-E Faces. Human, robot, monster. Wave 2 gives us 4 brand new figures, one of those being Man-E Faces here, so adding to the heroic warriors, another classic character with a really fun action feature, so I'm really excited to check this guy out. Of course, he does come in that standard Origins blister card packaging, which is very reminiscent of what we got in the vintage toy line, the bursting red rocks, all that great stuff there. You can see the mini comic behind the figure. Looks absolutely fantastic. We do have like the extra little blurb here that says turn head for 3 different faces. So that's pretty cool that we've got like the action feature call out right there on the front of the card back. And then when we flip that around, we do have some absolutely gorgeous artwork up at the top, which is such a great reference to like the vintage mini comics and the card back artwork and everything. I love the artwork on these packages. Look, we've even got the older King Randor and Queen Marlena that we saw in those old mini comics. I love stuff like this. So beautiful artwork. And then down below that, you can see we've got our artwork featuring the cross-sell of the 4 Wave 2 figures, as well as He-Man and Skeletor, and we've got our action feature call-out, just like on the original packaging, showing you how you can turn the knob on Man-E Face's head to rotate the faces. So really, really fun packaging. Let's get this guy ripped open and take a closer look at him. Alright, so we're going to take a look at our Man-E Faces outside of the packaging. Real quick, it's worth noting that he does come packaged with the same mini comic that all 4 figures in Wave 2 come with, Double Trouble. So it's a cool little bonus pack-in. It's got the cross-O on the back, but same one that we've got with all 4 of the figures in this particular wave. So let's go ahead and move on to our Man-E Faces action figure here. Bringing in the tape measure like always, you can see that the figure actually stands right at 6 inches tall. So he does feel a little taller than the vintage action figures, but again, the vintage figures had those bent knees and squat poses, where with these added articulation, we can now stand them a little bit taller, so they definitely feel taller than the vintage figures, but the overall aesthetic and build of the figure is the same, so they do essentially fit in, and you can actually still pose them, you know, with the more squat poses, if that is something that you want to do. So Man-E Face's colors are very bright on this guy, I've got to say. He does a good job of looking like the vintage figure, but man, his skin tone is like super orange this time around. In the vintage figure, he looked like he just had a tan, and he was a little bit lighter skinned in classics, and this time around, he is just like straight orange. I don't know if he's got like a fake tan going on or what here, but it really stands out to me just how bright and like almost neon this particular figure is. Otherwise, the paint does look pretty good for the most part. I do have a blue scuff over here on the bicep, but otherwise it does a pretty good job of capturing the look of the vintage figure. So Man-E Faces, of course, is known for having many faces. He's got 3 different faces that we can change by turning the little knob on top of his head, and it functions just like the vintage toy. So the main face is his human face. The sculpt is a little soft, but it's not too bad. It very much looks just like what we got on the vintage toy. As we rotate that, it clips over to the robot face. I will say that this is very nice. You can see it's super smooth, and it clips into place. I like that. Like when you get it on a face, it there's a notch, and it clips into place. So that's really good. Did you notice the paint scuff in between? That's interesting. I've got like some skin tone there in the middle. That's unfortunate, but at least you can't see it when you see the faces there. So we got our robot face, and then lastly, we've got our monster face. The monster face definitely seems super soft on this one, and it's a very bright green, so it kind of washes out the details a little bit, but it does look similar to the vintage toy, and overall this feature functions really good, so that is really nice. And now we're going to talk about the articulation with the added head articulation. Now this is really cool because the vintage toy, you could not turn the head left and right because of that spinning face. But with the modern articulation, Mattel was able to give us the spinning face, but still allow us to pose the head left and right. I think that is pretty cool. I love it. So otherwise, the shoulders function the same, going outwards, forwards, backwards. You got to swivel at the elbow. You got to bend at the elbow, swivel and hinge joint at the wrist. the waist turns left and right. You got those ball-like hinge joints there at the thighs, so legs can go outwards, forwards, and backwards. Swivels at the knee, bend at the knee. You even do have a swivel at the boot cut, which is like at the calf right there. And then the ankles can move forwards and backwards, though they are hindered slightly by the sculpt over the ankle there. And unfortunately, the sculpt of that also makes it so that there's no rocker joints. The ankles do not move side to side. So he has a little bit more limited posing in his feet compared to the rest of the figures I've looked at in this line so far. But he does have a lot of newly sculpted parts. Obviously, these legs are new, the arms are new, but we will be getting those reused for different characters. One of them's right here in Wave 2 with Trapjaw with those legs, so we'll be seeing that soon. So he does still maintain the modular parts here. One of the things I noticed, the torso feels a lot more hollow on this guy than the other figures. So he actually feels a little more lightweight, and this feels a little harder. This is probably to incorporate that spinning action feature, I would imagine. You can kind of hear it, how hollow it sounds, and it feels like it's made of a different plastic. So, the vintage toy kind of had that going on with it as well. Surprisingly, though, he does still feature the modular arms, so the arms can still pull out of socket, just like we've seen on the other figures. You can pull the wrists out of socket as well, so those pop in and out. You can remove the torso at the waist. And then I think the feet, yeah, you can still remove them. It's going to be kind of weird because it's more like instead of pulling his boot off, you're ripping his leg in half. But at the calf right there, at that joint, you can pull those feet off as well. I do not think the head comes off of this one. In fact, definitely not. It is definitely locked in place. So we do not have the option to switch the head, but that totally makes sense, obviously, because of the unique sculpt and the gimmick. So Manny Faces comes with one accessory in the form of his signature orange blaster. Of course, no paint detail. It's just molded in orange. Very, very bright orange. And actually, it's a lot smaller than the vintage one. I guess they sized it down. The vintage one did always feel a little oversized, so I guess I get that. But it's interesting to see them kind of shrink it down for this figure. But it is exactly what you would expect Manny Faces to come with. So we've got that nice little laser pistol there. All right, guys, it's comparison time. So here's a look at the new Origins Manny Faces on the right, standing alongside the vintage one on the left. You can see what I was talking about with the difference in the colors there, but otherwise the new one does a pretty good job of capturing the overall look of Manny Faces. And just for fun, I'm also going to stand them alongside the Masters of the Universe Classics version of Manny Faces, which was in the 7-inch scale, more paint detail. It was more like a collector figure. So it's always interesting to kind of see those standing side by side. So there you go, my friends. There is a look at the brand new Masters of the Universe Origins Manny Faces. Overall, he's a nice figure. I'm glad that the action feature is intact. I do like that you can turn the head on him this time around. I think that's pretty cool. And we're starting to really build out a nice little team of heroic warriors. So pretty cool. Also, this is introducing some unique parts into the line. So I imagine, like I said, we're already getting Trapjaw, who's going to reuse those legs. We know that Robato's coming down the line. So it's pretty cool to kind of see some of these new parts getting introduced into the lineup here. So Manny Faces is part of Wave 2, which is just now hitting retail stores, still exclusive to Walmart for 2020, opening to all retailers in 2021. I was able to pre-order this guy back in August, and luckily he just shipped out. So hopefully if you guys were able to grab those pre-orders off Walmart, yours is also arriving. Otherwise, keep a lookout. Hopefully you can find him in store, or hopefully you'll be able to easily order him online come 2021. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and until next time.
The Toys of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe is available for pre-order now. This official guidebook is published by Dark Horse Books and features over 750 pages of photos and information on your favorite He-Man and She-Ra action figures. And don't miss out on the exclusive bundle pack available for pre-order now from PowerCon. This bundle includes the official guide as well as an exclusive character guide supplement that you won't be able to buy anywhere else. Don't miss out. You have the power.